All right, at a public spot today, there was two really nice survivor bucks in here, and I know for sure one of them has dropped, but I think the most recent pictures of the other one was right around the 20th of February, but I'm just in here looking for that really big one. And believe it or not, I think I just came across his shed from last year. This is totally unreal. I was, trying to find his fresh shed. I never found one of his sides in here last year. This is just such a big area, but I'll show you what it looks like here. It's buried in the grass, looks super cool. This is how close it was when I first seen it. Just totally luck that I just walked through right here. Wow, that's a real nice shed. That's like, God, that thing's got to be at least 60, almost 65 inches. That's pretty nice. Too bad I didn't find it last year, but thankfully this ain't a hardwood, so it's not chewed up at all. Let me get some pictures of this and then I'll pick it up. All right, here we go. Oh wow, I didn't even notice that he had that last year. He didn't grow that this year, but that is 100% the buck that I'm in here looking for, his fresh rack. This is just 1 year old, and man, he looked big last year, but he looked like he made a pretty decent jump this year. So his fresh rack should be actually quite a bit bigger than this. Holy crap, if he's this big last year, he's probably, anywhere between 70 and 80 inches this year on each side. I mean, he's the biggest buck I had pictures of the whole year anywhere, public land or private, this year. And like I said, last year he was big, as you can tell. I thought he might have been, now that I got the shed in my hand, there is still a chance he's a 3-year-old right here, but I'm kind of leaning on it's probably more of a 4-year-old and then a 5-year-old this year. But last year when I was getting pictures of him, I almost was sure that he was a 3-year-old because his body looked so small. But maybe his rack was just so big it was deceiving. I don't know. The body just didn't look like a mature deer last year, and this year he's starting to look, like a pretty good sized body. But it's hard to say if he's 3 here or 4, because the other big buck that's in here, he's really big too, and he's at least a year or 2 younger than this one. And I'm thinking he was 3 this year, and he was really big too. So yeah, that was well worth the walk today. And I thought I was gonna get wet out here, so I wore my rain jacket, but we'll see if I can maybe find a shed or 2 from him this year. I mean, it'd be crazy to find it today, but there's a chance. This is absolutely nuts. I just found his shed, one of his sides from this year. And I did kind of a loop, maybe just a couple 100 yards away from where I found the other one. Kind of just in this canary grass area. Just this whole area is just full of this. But man, it's getting pretty dark here. I'm kind of just working my way out, but I saw this one from probably like this far away. Just really easy to see. Well, I guess it's kind of getting darker here, but man, that's gonna be like one of the biggest sheds I find all year, if not the biggest. I got the other one right here, and it's even the same side. So wow, what are the chances? I mean, I was in here like crazy last year, and I couldn't find either side from him last year. I thought someone else maybe got in here and picked it up, but let me get some pictures of that quick before it gets any darker, and I'll pick it up. It's just sitting in the water. Like I said, it just rained like almost 1 inch today. All right, here we go. Not a whole lot of the wax ring left on there. Like I said, I think this guy dropped sometime back in January, or at least early February, because the buck that he's hanging out with is almost as big as him, but a little younger. And I had pictures of him you know, right around the 20th of February, so kind of recent, but I knew I had a small chance of coming in here and finding this. I didn't expect to actually, I figured when I came in here today, I probably had like a 20% chance at best of finding it, because it's just such a big area and hard to cover it all. I mean, the chances of actually coming across this one and finding the one from last year is just crazy. Wow. Sometimes these afternoon walks like this are just the best, most memorable walks. I mean, I've put on multiple days this year, like almost full days. This weekend Saturday was a full day, nothing. Seeing tons of sign everywhere, but just crazy. And you could see all this water's right here. Yeah, he didn't grow that again, that little split thing, but I'll have to score these when I get home and see how much he really grew. Looks like his brow tine actually shrunk. Look at that. It's a little shorter this year, but he's got definitely more mass. The beam's a little longer, but in all reality, it's pretty much the same. Maybe just a little bit of tine length on his G2 this year, but that is so cool. Couldn't have asked for a better way to end out February here. Let's go. I knew it was just a matter of time. This is usually one of my better public land spots, but I think the last 2 years someone else has beat me in here, because I haven't done as good as like when I first found this spot a couple years, many years ago. And this is the same spot where 2 years ago, those are the last sheds I found here. I found a double match set, 2 match side-by-side matches that was just a couple hundred yards that way in some grass. And I think this could be off of one of those bucks. This is a pretty good shed. Every year there's just tons of really good sign right up in this melted off south-facing grass right here. You can see this scrape tree is just tore up. That's what drew my attention, this mulberry right here with all these scrapes. Some of them looking kind of fresh. But then behind the tree, look at that. Oh my goodness. Just in here for like a short 1 hour walk after work today. Wow. Let me get some pictures of that. There's a chance it's off of one of the bucks I found in here in the past, but it looks kind of young. I don't know. All right, I'll pick it up here. Actually, it looks like there's kind of a deer bed right here. I mean, obviously this deer was probably laying right here. The snow's been we get a snowstorm and it melts off. We get a snowstorm and it melts off. So this grass out here has been exposed quite a bit this winter. Wow, that's a pretty good sized frame deer. Probably, at least a 3-year-old at the minimum. That's too big to be a 2-year-old. I don't know. Could be just a big 4-year-old. I mean, a small 4-year-old with not much mass. I don't know. Like I said, that I found 2 match sets in here just a little bit that way 2 years ago, and one of them kind of looks like this, but he had at least this much mass 2 years ago. I bet you this is just a different deer, probably a 3-year-old. I don't know, hard to say. But hey, I'll take it. No chews, nothing on it. Man, this is awesome. I knew I had a chance of finding something in here if I was, one of the first people in here this year, and looks like I probably am one of the first people in here. That was kind of in a hard spot to see, especially if there was snow here when someone walked by. Well, let's keep walking here. All right, I got super lucky tonight. You can see it's probably about 15 minutes from being dark. And I was in here for probably an hour and a half. This is actually the same area where I found the first shed of the whole year. It was an old one buried in grass, probably maybe 200 yards that way. This is like a city area. There's a big subdivision just that way. And man, there's some pretty good sized buck sign in here. There's definitely, mature bucks in here. And I think I just came across one of their sheds. Just a lot of this lowland habitat. And boom, right there. Really easy to see how it was laying. That's pretty cool. Wow, that's got some serious mass to it. And I've been seeing boot tracks in here, and like that old shed I found out there back in mid-January before we got some heavier snow. There was no snow that day, but when I found that, I figured I might have found another, you know, a little spot, you know, just kind of behind this subdivision that didn't really get shed hunted. Man, I've been seeing boot tracks everywhere in here in the woods right there and stuff that I was just in. And man, this thing couldn't have been laying here too long or something. Let me get some quick pictures. It's always cool to find them sitting up like that with the main beam up. You don't find them like that too often. Wow, that's super cool. He busted off 2 tines. Kind of a split bladed brow tine. I mean, if he's breaking off tines, there's probably something bigger in here somewhere. I don't know if that's the same. The one I found in here was just a typical 4-point shed, a little smaller than this. If it is him, he just basically added mass. He didn't grow any height or main beam. I don't know, this is at least a 3-year-old. That's more than a 2-year-old. Potentially a 4-year-old, who knows?